In a defined benefit plan like PERS, a member's retirement benefit is not based on the accumulated contributions in a member's account, but rather is determined by a formula based on the member's average compensation, years of service, and the benefit options selected at retirement, as opposed to a defined contribution plan, which is based on contributions by the employee, and in some case, contributions by the employer, and then any investment earnings. And at retirement in a defined benefit plan, a member is provided monthly payments for life versus a lump sum as you would get in a defined contribution plan. Now, through the monthly payments that PERS and other public defined benefit plans pay, we provide those payments that we provide retirement security to thousands of public employees and their families, keeping many off public assistance. And these payments are not only important to the individuals, but they're also important to the communities in which they live. I'd like to talk just a minute about the importance of these benefits and highlight some of the statistics and demographics for you. We now provide monthly payments to almost 85,000 retirees. The total monthly payroll now exceeds $112 million. And when combined with the cost of living adjustment, it exceeds $1.6 billion annually. Now, these payments act as an economic engine for the state of Mississippi and the communities in which these retirees live. Almost 93% of these payments, or more than $1.5 billion, remains in Mississippi. These payments are vitally important to the future economic growth. They are steady and continuous, increase with inflation, and provide a strong and locally disseminated economic stimulus. With these payments, retirees purchase goods and services, creating and supporting jobs, increasing profits and wages in the private sector, and increasing taxes and fees in the public sector. And in fact, according to a 2009 report by the National Institute on Retirement Security, PERS 2006 payments of $1.3 billion supported almost 11,000 jobs in Mississippi, paid $537 million in wages and salaries, and $1.6 billion in total economic output, and almost $200 million in federal, state, and local taxes. And now, when people talk about PERS, it's generally with the idea or the perception that it's a retirement plan for state employees, but it's really much more than that. We're responsible for the administration of 22 defined benefit plans and 2 defined contribution plans, plus some ancillary programs which serve more than 372,000 people and their families. Now, these plans include the Public Employees Retirement System, which is what you hear most about, and it covers almost all non-federal public employees in Mississippi, including state employees, school employees, employees of city and county governments, as well as employees of the institutions of higher learning and community and junior colleges. The Mississippi Highway Safety Patrol Retirement System, which is a separate system and covers the sworn officers of the Mississippi Highway Safety Patrol. We administer 19 closed municipal plans. These are individual city plans, mostly fire and police plans that were established prior to PERS being created in 1952. Most of these were closed in 1976, and the administration was transferred to PERS in 1987. Then the one y'all have all heard about, the Supplemental Legislative Retirement Plan, which covers the members of the legislature and the lieutenant governor, and it provides an ancillary benefit to those members for their legislative service. We're responsible for the administration of the Mississippi Deferred Compensation Plan and Trust, which is a supplemental defined contribution plan available to those employers who participate in PERS. There are assets of over $1.1 billion and over 40,000 participants in that plan. We also administer the optional retirement plan, which is a defined contribution plan available to teaching faculty and certain administrative positions at the institutions of higher learning, and that's in lieu of participation in PERS. Now, as of June 30, 2010, our fiscal year end, There were a little less than 167,000 active employees covered by the plans that we administer. And this represents an increase in the number of employees of almost 9% over the last 10 years. However, it represents a decrease of almost 1% from last fiscal year. And in fact, this is the first time since 2001 that there's been a decrease in the number of employees. Now, as I mentioned earlier, as of May 1st, we're providing benefits to almost 85,000 retirees and beneficiaries. And this represents an increase in the retiree population of more than 57% since June 30 of 2000. However, there are currently more than 22,000 individuals eligible to retire today, and almost 75,000, or more than 45%, of the current workforce can retire today or within 10 years. So realistically, should the number of retirees grow at the rate that it has over the past 10 years, for those who retire based on service only, not age, the average years of service is 31, and the average age is 59. So most people who are in these positions on a career basis work at least 30, if not longer than 30 years. Now, as you know, the economy and the financial markets have been on everyone's mind since the fall of 2008. And while there have been some improvements and there are indications that we're headed in the right direction, there's still an air of cautious optimism about the economy and how long it will take before we fully recover. In October of 2007, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at its highest point ever at over 14,000. However, at a point in March 2009, the average decreased to almost 6,500, reflecting a loss of more than 50% of that value. And since that time, it has climbed back to over 12,800 as of the close of business Friday, an increase of almost 97% since March of 2009. And however, as we all know, while that numeric increase may be more than the 50% loss, it still hasn't recouped the value that was lost. And while the impact of PERS portfolio was not as dramatic as what happened to the overall economy, there has been a significant impact. And even though our return for fiscal year 2010 is positive at 14.1%, our returns for fiscal year 2008 was a negative 8.2%, and for 2009 it was a negative 19.4%. And the asset value dropped from a high of 21.8 at June 30, 2007 to 17.1 billion as of this year end. But it's important to remember that PERS is in the market for the long term. And in fact, as of close of business Friday, our assets have grown to 21.2 billion, reflecting an estimated return for this fiscal year of between 24 to 28%. And so as of the end, since the end of June of the last fiscal year, we're up $4.1 billion this year, and have recouped a significant amount of the value lost from June 30, 2007. And to help you understand how we invest in the markets, we employ 32 different investment managers who invest the employee and employer contributions in 42 different portfolio or areas of the market. The assets are invested in a strategic asset allocation policy that mitigates risk and over time should provide an 8% investment return. Now, there's been a lot of discussion and media coverage about the funding of PERS and the need for the increase in the contributions. Maintaining a financially secure public retirement system in our states is important. PERS financial security is important not only to our legislature, our board, and our staff, but to hundreds of thousands of Mississippi's active and retired public employees who have spent their entire career serving others. Our current funded status is 64.2% as of June 30, 2010, and 80% is the benchmark considered by many to constitute a well-funded plan. And what this means is as of June 30, on an actuarial basis, we had a little more than 64% of the assets needed to pay the liabilities that had accrued. Not the liabilities due and payable today, but those earned and payable in the future.